We have moved from the flora archaeological antiquities in the one room to the lamp room here at the seminary. Two things that we need to remember as we're thinking of archaeology and its import in the Old Testament and New Testament. Relative chronology, but when we come to the lamp room, we're able to see relative changes over periods of time that we can trace. Robert Houston Smith, whose collection of lamps we acquired some years ago, has this to say about the significance of the biblical lamp. Although less impressive than monumental remains, lamps are among the most important artifacts of the ancient world. During their long history, they underwent frequent changes of form, with the result that today they afford archaeologists a valuable chronological yardstick for the dating of other remains. They also constitute a rich mine for students of cultural diffusion, ceramic techniques, art, religious practices, and in some instances, symbolism. And to scholar and layman alike, lamps impart, to an extent hardly matched by any other common ancient object, an impression of the reality of life in times long past. And so we are looking at our collection of lamps that will extend from about 3000 BC all the way down to the modern Arabic period. So let me focus on some of the things that are in our collection. Possibly the earliest lamp in history was nothing more than a bowl in which olive oil was placed, and something that was burning fell into it, a piece of fabric, a piece of wood, and somebody discovered, oh, instead of having a torch that we have to carry around with us, we have a portable example of a pottery lamp. The lamp was very simple. You can see some burn marks on the edge. The next development of the lamp was this four-fold lamp. It only appeared around 2000 BC. It probably burned too much oil, but you can see it's almost the forerunner of our modern chandelier. 4 spouts, similar to the spout that's in back of me, would have extended from this lamp. But the lamp that we follow through most of the Old Testament period is the lamp that we call the saucer lamp. The saucer lamp probably is nothing more than originally a shell, a bivalve shell from the Mediterranean, and the top and bottom could be used for oil, and then the natural little hinge, and you can see this has been burned, would have been the place to put the wick. And that will continue, that shape, for at least 1,500 years until we come down to the divided monarchy, the southern Judean and the northern Israeli lamp. The northern lamp is still a saucer, but notice that the ledges on the sides almost create a spout where, in fact, that wick can rest. It's called a wick rest. It still has a rounded bottom, but in Judea itself, the flat bottom lamp developed, so it doesn't slush and lose any of its liquid. So these are two traditional lamps that would have come from the time of Solomon and David and the monarchy. And that's kind of the end of the saucer lamp over a 1,500-year period. When we move into the Iron Age, we find that the Persian lamp, especially of Iron Age 3, is a lamp that's very unique. It still has this rounded bottom, but the sides round out and the spout flares. It's really not a spout, it's still a wick rest, but you can see the wick can securely rest here. This lamp is not going to wobble. Another movement is to pinch the sides together, and we now have a receptacle for the olive oil, and we have the first spout in history. Notice this is called the slipper lamp. Both of these lamps come from the Persian period of Iron Age 3. I purchased this lamp myself in Jerusalem. There was not originally a lamp quite like this in his collection. And then from then on, we just have a smaller lamp, one that will have a spout on it. This is the lamp from the Herodian period, from the New Testament period of Jesus. Then we move into the Christian period, the Roman period, and into the Arabic period. So what we actually have here is the history of the development of the ceramic lamp over thousands of years, from the Chalcolithic, where it was simply a rounded bowl, to Bronze Age 1 and 2 and 3, Iron Age 1, 2, 3, then Roman, Greek, Roman, Byzantine, Christian. One of our lamps actually has a cross on the bottom, so that when we are digging into the levels and we find a cross, we know that we're in the late Roman period. And then finally, one of the last developments of the pottery lamp is to have it glazed so that it will not lose its oil. This is no longer porous. This has been glazed and is covered. Lamps are important in the ancient world. And once again, as if you were to visit our museum, in the tell that's in the major room, in each of the levels, we have a representative lamp. Lamps are sort of like the Coca-Cola bottle or can that's changed over time to meet the needs of people. Remember, light in dark times brought a sense of joy, of celebration, family, food, times to be together. These lamps were probably only lit for a few hours at night and extinguished. And that's why we think maybe the pinched rims like this and the spout meant that the oil could be poured back and not wasted, because these lamps were porous. And so you can imagine at night, after it's time to go to bed, the oil is put back in a container that's maybe metal, limestone, or glass. Some of the lamps in our collection are multi-spouted, and they certainly have very interesting characteristics. We have already pointed out this four-fold lamp that dates from the time of the patriarchs, approximately 1800 to 2000 BC. It probably burned too much oil, but you can see it has a design of a chandelier, and I imagine it hanging in a tent of someone who was a nomad during that period. Several of our other lamps that are multi-spouted include this lamp that's designed as a foot. Remember, the Psalm says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And so this multi-spouted lamp of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was always kind of a special number in antiquity. We have a 3-spouted Greek lamp that's made of glass. And then we have a much later Jewish lamp that would have had many, I think there's 12 or 14 spouts in this lamp. This is a very distinctive lamp from the Roman period, which extends right after the Iron Age 3. This particular lamp has 7 spouts. All of them have been burned. The handle has a floral design on it, and obviously this is a portable lamp. This would be an example of a lamp that would be used where a group of people is together. The dimensions of this lamp, let me give them to you. In terms of its weight, 393 grams or 13 ounces. Its length from the handle to this spout is 18 centimeters or 7 inches. Its width across is 16.5 centimeters or 6.5 inches. and then its height, 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches. A lamp like this would have obviously been used where people are together. A single spouted lamp is enough for one person, but if you have a group of people together, I'm thinking of a public building, a council meeting, a place where people are assembling, this would be the lamp of choice. Also, when we're talking about multi-spouted lamps, let me direct you to the lamp that I purchased in Jerusalem on a sabbatical some years ago. This lamp represents really domestic lighting. Sometimes street lights were used in antiquity because people needed to see where they're walking in the dark. They might have an individual lamp, but lamps like this could be suspended in a courtyard or along a street. This lamp has 12 spouts. It was designed either to be suspended because you can see the rope around the neck, but also the base has been broken off. This could have been set on some kind of tablet of sculpture so that it could radiate out to the city. Lamps that could be used that would be on a sedentary rod or pole would be illustrated by this lamp from the Greek period. It's red and black, but notice it has 2 extended wick rests or spouts, but there's a hole in the center that it could slide up and down on a metal rod or wooden rod, and the higher the lamp is in the room, the more light it gives. As it slides down, it could light the dinner table. We have an example of that on this pole lamp. It's a wooden rod holding the lamp, but the lamp, because it has an open hole and it has a saucer in which the olive oil is placed, and then 2 wicks, this lamp can slide up to give light for the full house, or it can slide down. Lamps need to have illumination possibilities. I think Jesus once said, you don't light a lamp and put it under a bushel, but you put it on a lampstand and it gives light to all that are in the house. Higher up, everybody sees what's on the dinner table. Lowering it down, perhaps one is doing reading, sewing, or near eyesight work. So we have wonderful examples in our collection of multi-spouted lamps. And remember, they start as early as 2000 BC with this 4-fold lamp and extend down even into the modern Arabic period.